It's unfortunate that humanity has migrated from the cavemen and the hunters and the gatherers, try to make the world a better place, but today it still seems that the more we try to make the world a better place, the more the world itself becomes the worst place to be. We have invented a lot of technologies visiting the space and all the vast technologies that we have today, but it seems as if we haven't become better than we have. We have produced a lot of food strains to feed the world population, but it seems as if the more we try to improve the food that we are eating, the dirtier the food itself continues to become. Welcome back to Infinity Healthy. Healthy is wealthy. We eat to live and do not live to eat. Let food be thy medicine. I just want to come straight away to this issue of anti-vaccines protest and the reasoning behind. Number one, we should note that vaccines are basically experiments. An experiment is simply a trial. We are trying to see if something works out as a solution that we are looking for. Why? Because we have a challenge and people are asking different questions and some are even ending up protesting. Now, there are protests happening worldwide in different countries. But at the same time, there are also people who are taking the vaccine. It seems as if the world has reached to a stage whereby if this thing of vaccination is not handled well, we are going to have even more divisions. Unless otherwise it is what our governments need. Divisions are created in the sense that the vaccine that is being administered is said to be safe and good, but at the same time, there is a contradictory to it in the sense that while least people who are vaccinated are said to be at a lesser risk, it is rumored that a person who is not vaccinated can transmit the vaccine to those who are vaccinated. So if a person who is already vaccinated can contract the virus, what does it mean now? Is the vaccine really working or fulfilling its purpose? When we look at vaccines since time immemorial, the vaccines have been administered and people have been taking without questioning. Why was it like that? Today's vaccine seems to be a little bit different from the vaccine that has been administered in the past. Why? Because the makers or the manufacturers of the vaccines have filed lawsuits to protect themselves if anything can happen to the people who are taking the vaccine. For example, if I die because I have taken the vaccine, if I get injured or in whatever way damage happens to my body, the manufacturers of the vaccines, they do not retain responsibility for my damage, for my injury or so whatever. However, it is said because the people who are making vaccines, they are companies who are making money out of that. So it seems as if they are number one making money at my expense and they are refusing to take responsibility for it. You are an entity, an individual, if I may say, and you are denying responsibility for the damage of a lot of people worldwide. One person is more important than the vast people, the 7.5 billion in the world. Now, there are even people who are saying this.
Do any of you worry about getting COVID? No, you don't. Okay, so Jennifer, you're a really interesting place to start because you are a registered nurse. And so You, as I understand it, worked in a COVID unit. You saw the worst of the worst, and I would think that you would want to get the vaccine as soon as it's available, but I know that you have hesitance.
Basically, I just want some more research.
I had COVID in February, so I have natural immunity. There's no reason for me to get the vaccine. There's no reason for me to take the vaccine doses from vulnerable people in this country or in other countries who need it more than I do.
You just don't know how long your natural immunity will last.
You don't know how long the immunity from the vaccine lasts. This is taking on a religious mentality, in my opinion, on the progressive liberal side of the spectrum.
Has this experience with COVID changed your politics?
Yes, it's changed my politics. Now I'll vote for anybody who cares about civil liberties and who doesn't allow the trampling of our rights that we've seen over the past year.
Jennifer, I see you applauding.
She is a qualified nurse and she is not willing to take it, and she is prepared to leave her job. This other one is also saying that she has taken a religious mentality and she has got the natural immune system. What I think is that if you have never contracted COVID-19 since it began, to me it shows that your immune system is strong enough and you need to keep strengthening your immune system. There are some doctors who are giving you that if you focus on eating natural foods or eating healthy, your immune system may be boosted, because the biggest problem or the major reason people are dying because of COVID-19, it is said either they already have some chronic diseases or they have weaker immune system. So besides taking vaccination as number one procedure, why can't we also make it mandatory for people to eat healthy foods and make it mandatory for our governments to produce healthy foods so that people will be boosted of their immune system and be able to live and resist the virus? That is a question that I'm just asking. I don't know, but I think it's worth mentioning. Diseases have been there time immemorial and they will continue to be there. People will continue to die of diseases. If we don't focus on what is causing these diseases, I think it will be a big problem, because research says that 90% of people who are dying, they are dying because of chronic diseases, and 90% of the chronic diseases that are out there are caused by what people are eating, which is to say the world's food today is dirty. Why can't we focus on good foods to improve the health of people? It seems as if now there is a tendency when it comes to the manufacturing of vaccines to focus on quantity rather than on quality. So because there is a higher demand, the world population is big, it seems as if there is a higher demand for vaccines, and it seems as if the concentration is given more not on research and giving a sound solution. There is a tendency to focus on how many doses must be produced. Now that becomes critical. It seems as if a lot of religions have different questions and they do not want to take the vaccine for different religious beliefs. In many countries where people are protesting about the COVID-19 vaccine, there is things like vaccination passports and the vaccination being made mandatory. So people are beginning to question why it has to be mandatory. And the other thing is, naturally, a human being was not made to yield easily to things that are made forcibly or mandatorily on them. That is why if you are even to look at a religious perspective, looking into the book of life, when God created the first man, he gave the first man choice or the power to choose. There is a saying even today that says nothing can resist the will of a man. That is to say, if you are to look at many countries which have been colonized during the colonial era, they managed to fight the colonial systems and gotten rid of them. Why? Because they were willing to attain their freedom. Point now is, if vaccinations are quite made mandatorily, it seems as if whenever there is that kind of force on humanity, there is also a kind of resistance that comes with it. It will be up to the determination of the end results of who will be winning and who will be losing. It's natural for the human spirit to resist anything as far as life is concerned. There is this guy called Moses. When he was taking the people of Israel out of Egypt, he said, I have put life and death before you. Now choose life so that you can live, you and your children. Why can't we also allow people to choose or to be led by their choices, to just place before them, say, this is the vaccine. You should know that your choice will determine where you end up being. If you are vaccinated, you will be safe. And if you are not vaccinated, you will contract the disease and you will die. So if people want to die, they will choose and they will go to the graveyards on their own. And if people want to be safe, they will take the vaccine, they will be safe on their own. Why can't we place the choice on the people to also choose willfully and willingly on their own and determine the end results of their life? So when vaccination becomes mandatory, it will now look like humanity is no longer guided by their conscience, but rather by a certain force being exerted on them. Yet even God himself never forced Adam and Eve to choose their fate. He placed choices before them, and by the end of the day, they found themselves in the consequences. These companies that manufacture vaccines, they filed lawsuits to protect themselves. But who will protect the people? If our governments allow these people to protect themselves, it seems to me that the government themselves are no longer also protect the people, because people are dying after taking the vaccine and they have no protection, they have no compensation. Yet the company has benefited from the vaccine because they got their money after manufacturing and distributing. It becomes a little bit tricky, and people will become even more reluctant to take the vaccine because they will think that they are not protected, number one, and number two, if anything happens to them, is up to them. Where we are saying if anything happens to you is up to you, why can't we also allow the choice to prevail? Ignorance becomes powerlessness. What you don't know is what will kill you. In conclusion, let me say, I think if there is clear research out there that eating healthy will improve the immune system, what we need to do and focus on right now is to focus on eating what is right. Another thing is, if we have a problem worldwide which we are failing to solve, why can't we also realize that we are nature, and to nature we go back? Why can't we go back to the Creator himself and submit our problem or our issue before him, and allow different religions and different churches to gather and worship, fast and pray to the Creator? Because it seems as if these vaccines are experiments, it seems as if everything that we are doing is just but trial and error. So why can't we also do the trial and error of every nation under the sun to submit to the Creator and offer ourselves to the Creator and say, this has gone out of hand and out of our power and out of our knowledge. We need the supreme knowledge and wisdom that comes from you, the Creator, and to intervene and get rid of this pandemic. Don't we think that it will also solve the problem? Why? Because we are all experimenting. So why can't we allow all the sorts of experimentations, eating healthy, praying and fasting, to try to find out that which will solve this pandemic problem that we have found ourselves in. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope this video was good for you. And if you haven't subscribed, consider doing that, and share, comment, and together let's build the country that